Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures. Real quickly today, I wanted to point out to you guys a fun little set I found recently from Legends of Signum. Now, I know I'm not the most up-to-date on these videos. I usually miss them by, well, at least a couple weeks, if not months. But I wanted to point out today and spend a little time talking about their recent dwarf set. Now, I begrudgingly accept dwarves on the tabletop. I'm not usually a fan of the big bushy beards and, disgruntled, gruff personas, maybe because it reflects too much on myself. I have no idea. But Legends of Signum has always kind of carried the torch for that very Rackham Confrontation style, and I've always appreciated that. I mean, it's been very apparent with their releases since the very beginning, but these guys really seem to carry the torch that the old thermo priests had, and I absolutely respect that about them. Those were some of my favorite models from Confrontation. And I searched all through the house for far too long, and I have no idea where I put any of them. I had quite a few. I know I ended up selling some on eBay, so if you have any of my painted Thermo Priests, Thermo Warriors, the box set with the guy in the wheelchair and all that, consider yourselves lucky. But I really wanted to focus on this set that Legends of Signum put out because really, honestly, truly, they really have that same vibe to them. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I have to print these guys out. So I haven't done anything to them other than just go ahead, grab some blue tack and some bases just to give you guys a good idea. So this is one of the hero models that they had. It's got the gas masked face, big honking hammer, breathing apparatus, smoke pouring out of it, and that is a 20mm base. So these guys look really big, and I've got a pile of dwarves here just to prove that to you. But the fact that they at least fit on the right size base is always a plus. I really wish I could find my Confrontation guys to see how they stack up. I have no idea what happened to them. Had a couple of the regular dwarves, and no idea where they are now. This was their queen model, who actually had a full chariot accompanying her. I just have not bothered to print it yet. Wanted to get a couple of the actual models printed off. She's on a 25mm base, in case you're wondering. Let's see. Another of the hero models. I really liked this guy. I love the meteors, the jetpack punchy dudes for the dwarves. So he's got the smoke coming off the hammer is a separate piece, but I had a bit of a mishap, I don't know how, on the bottom of the hammer and then on the bottom of his backpack here as well. Not sure what happened, or if these are actually supposed to attach to each other. It doesn't look like they are, but not a huge issue. That is a 32mm base he's got. That's actually a Legends of Signum base. I like these. Kind of raised up. He fits quite nicely there. And the best part and the most obvious of the Thermo Priests' influence is on their modular warriors. So I don't think there's more than maybe one, maybe two bodies. They all have the lower part of the beard attached, and then there's a variety of heads, and then a variety of hands, and then there's a modular. The right arms are a bit more modular than the left. Of course, obviously, you could just go and mirror everything. I wanted a hammer guy. I like the little teapot, very Confrontation-like to have that hanging off his back there. It sounds like the gardener just arrived, or somebody's cutting down trees. Hopefully that's not cutting into the video. Here's an example of the body. You can see here the lower half of the beard. I think I just mirrored this. Maybe there isn't another body. A couple of other head examples. Very Rivet Wars looking. I thought that would make for a fun marksman type, which is easy enough to do, considering we have a nice little blunderbuss here. Here we have a miner head. And to accompany him in the dark, we've got one of the optional hands. Let's see, with the lantern. So as I was saying, I don't know where the pieces went. They're hiding here underneath the camera. Let's see if I can get them out. So the right arms, you can see, are modular so that they can take various hand weapons. And then the left arms tend to have predetermined parts included. But as I said earlier, there's nothing stopping you from switching and swapping and mirroring everything around, and I just printed up just a few examples of what's available. And the best part is, these are just the first wave of the dwarves they had. Actually, after these guys were released, they did a full set of Chaos Dwarves, which were very much influenced by the Dwarves of Mid-Nor from Confrontation. Very mutated if you're into that stuff. I'll get to them eventually. It's just, to me, I like the more traditional bushy beard, big hats, evil dwarves. But that's just my personal opinion, like the Titan Forge guy. So as I was saying, let's get a good look. These guys are quite tall for what they are. They are quite big and bulky. Now, they're not Conquest bulky, and if you really want to see that, do I have any handy? I'm sure I do. Yeah, I do. I have one of the Dweghom right here. Actually, that's not a bad scale. That's kind of funny. Huh. That is interesting to see. Well then, I guess if you wanted some extra ideas for proxy models for some of the various adjunct lieutenant types in Conquest, like in First Blood, for example, that might be something worth looking into. I hadn't actually measured them in that regard yet, so that is definitely interesting to see. Grabbing a Titan Forge Chaos Dwarf and a regular Titan Forge Dwarf. Now, I've printed all of these off at regular size. I didn't do any kind of tweaking or anything like that, so you can see their heads are a lot larger. But, I mean, height-wise, they all kind of stack up pretty well with each other. I don't think they're too bad. But when we grab other companies such as GW or Mantic, you can see there's definitely some differences there. Now, obviously, the proportions for as big and as wild as some of the Fire Slayers and types like those are, they're not that big and wild looking in comparison to these guys. Now, admittedly, he does have big giant hair, so that's definitely going for him. Whatever our hero's name is. Yeah, even with a smaller base, that's not really helping in our comparison. What about some actual Legends of Signum models? And these are both cast models. These are not part of the Patreon like these dwarves were originally. So you can see they're pretty big. I don't know. I don't think I've ever painted or built any of the actual cast resin dwarves that they've had in Legends of Signum so far. I know there's a few here and there. Might be worth checking out to see if they're similarly proportioned. Grabbing a couple of the modular humans then, that I know have been in the Patreon, because I've, well, printed them there. Here's an example of one of the Viking warriors who doesn't want to stand up. Maybe with some help from his hammer friend there. And one of the modular samurai from an earlier set as well. They had these cool little banners, and I went and broke them when getting him ready to film. I was very frustrated about that. So you can see our dwarves are pretty darn big, and I don't know how much of that is their hair or just their heads are quite large. Grabbing a few more dwarves here just to round things out. How about some Durgan Paint Forge guys? They're actually kind of smaller. I thought they'd be about the same. I'm sure these are going to be smaller. That is from Peculiar Companions, and this is an Oathmark dwarf from North Star. And you can see they are dwarfed. Pun absolutely intended there by our friends here from Legends of Signum. How about a Hanzaki? So, again, these guys, they got the bulk. But I think in comparison to some of the other printable dwarves out there, I don't think they're that bad, actually. There was another Titan Forge one besides this guy. This guy's a Titan Forge one. He was part of their early... here we go. I think they'll fit in pretty decently with the Titanforge stuff. Yeah, the heads are a little bit smaller, but size-wise, I think they're going to look pretty good together. This is a modular figure that Titanforge did a while back. This is one of their hero models. So yeah, definitely a fun little set. Take a look. I know the original release included like a big old Balrog thing. I just have so many of those type monsters at this point, I didn't really need it. But a fun release nonetheless. And definitely we'll be seeing more Legends of Signum stuff on here because they had a cool new release, in addition to those Chaos Dwarves, of Lizardmen Ophidians, and I'm sure we'll have to see them at some point in the future. I'll put a link down below to their main website as well as their My Mini Factory page, so if you guys want to take a look at any of that, you are more than welcome to. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye!